Lanka, New Zealand, the gold medalists from 4 years ago, most dominant team in Commonwealth Games, Sevens history, taking on Sri Lanka, the Tuskers, in their 7th appearance at the Commonwealth Games. Pool A, well, if ever Rob Vickerman there is a pool of death, I think Pool A is it.
I'm sure it is, yeah. These teams will be well understanding the assignment here. Get through every single game as you can. New Zealand, as you mentioned, almost impeccable record. Having only lost one game in the Commonwealth Games history, and that was in the final. This is a very different entity. The Tuskers have certainly got a task ahead in this game.
5 gold medals out of 6 for the New Zealand men's sevens team over the years. Only Glasgow 2014, they dipped out, as Rob said, in the final to the Blitz box. He's one of the new young faces in the New Zealand team, and the captain, Sam Dixon, leading the side. The former skipper, Scott Curry, back in the New Zealand team for the first time this season since the Tokyo Games. We'll see how he transitions back from the 15-a-side game. Sri Lanka against New Zealand, Pool A in Birmingham. And it will be Dixon to bring it down for New Zealand to get us underway. Webber, here is Curry, first touch for the New Zealand Sevens Player of the Year. It was outstanding form before he headed to Japan for a 15s contract back in the New Zealand side, and some footwork early on from one of the veterans, Molia, but nice defence so far from Sri Lanka. Molia standing in the tackle and then eventually able to offload to Collier around the outside, the long loping strides of Dylan Collier and those levers that can keep defenders at bay. New Zealand up over halfway. Dixon looks to accelerate and instead stabs a kick through for Curry to chase. How's the bounce of Scott Curry? Oh, it's great for Sri Lanka. Wonderful sweeping across from the Sri Lankan defence. Earns a well-deserved cheer from this crowd. Magavi Black back for New Zealand. It was the captain, Surya Bandana, for Sri Lanka. Suri, as he is known. Here's Curry stepping out of one tackle, trying to offload for Dixon. Ball to ground, still there for New Zealand. Hands are good, defence is good too on Moses Leo, and here's Curry once more, and it's a return to sevens action, and it's a return to the try line for Scott Curry.
Well, there's no doubt that this man would come back in, make an impression. Perhaps didn't expect himself to be scoring the first try in New Zealand's campaign, but if you were to build a sevens player in robot form, it would look like Scott Curry. Big, strong, fast, abrasive. He has got 3 lungs. He never tires. Constantly around, exactly where it needs to be. Great support play, and as you'd expect, the sheer size and power of this All Black Sevens team, just too much to handle, but admirable defence in the first stint from Sri Lanka, absolutely.
Conversion successful is New Zealand 7, try Canil.
And the conversion good too from Narohi Magavi Black. Scott Curry, well, you probably need those 3 lungs after that gut-busting start, having been, as I said, playing 15 since late last year.
It really is a shock to the system. You come back 15s and 7s, often flip-flop for some players, less so in the last few years, but it's a completely different skill, completely different energy system.
Dixon soars for New Zealand. Advantage being played New Zealand way. Here's Magavi Black, and he's dangerous from broken play like this with his great footwork, slick feet from Narohi Magavi Black, becoming a real leader in this New Zealand team, and he'll go in under the posts for New Zealand second.
You mentioned his pace and ability, ball in hand. He's one of these players you just want to have the ball in the middle of the field. He's got the passing skills to pass it wide and create the chances for other people, but he's also got that electric footwork that will always get him on the one-on-ones. Difficult to know where he's going defensively. It's usually past people. And here we see it, lovely hitch kick on the outside of centre Verthini. Nothing you can do in that situation. You've got to hope that he runs somewhere near you. He didn't, and he gets 5 points.
Converts his own try to Magavi Black. So New Zealand 2 quick scores, 14 points to 0. That restart is not going to go 10 metres. Sri Lanka played it in the end. And here goes Suri, the captain, little kick ahead for himself. Scooping back is Magavi Black again, and he's got Leo with him. Moses Leo, one of the new young players, been out with injury, missed a couple of tournaments in the second half of the World Series season as New Zealand try to skip away. Collier, though, can't link up with Dixon. Well cut out by Sri Lanka, and they're going to set themselves off to the races here. Just dragged down in the tackle.
We have offside lines, offside.
Weber made the tackle on Burima. Wide ball for Mulia. And plenty of room, and he's just going to guide down the side. Sione Mulia to score New Zealand's third.
I saw a little bit with Sri Lanka playing their women earlier in this session, almost a bit panicked when they get ball in hand. Their default is to kick it, and that's the worst thing to do against New Zealand, because broken field, they're just so devastating. They get the ball, they keep the ball. Weber exposes a bit of space out wide, and even the big guys, they got the pace. So Black Sevens team coming to this knowing their reputation in this competition. That's the pressure, but they like to step up when it matters most.
Been a real mixed bag of a season so far, the New Zealanders as well. We'll see late arrivals back into the World Seven scene. Dixon tries to slap it back. This too falls for Sri Lanka, just tried to hack ahead, and it's fallen now for McGarvey Black. Weber, those two starting to form a really dynamic combination. Joe Weber slapping the hands away at the Sri Lankan chasers. The diving despair from Burima, and Joe Weber scoots off for New Zealand's fourth.
Just taking his time to put it down. Talked about McGarvey Black's footwork. This guy is right up there as well, has been for many years. That hitch kick on the outside, it's a simple thing, but the ball being in two hands makes such a difference, because the defenders don't know if he's looking to pass it, and by the time you've watched the flight of the ball, it's scything through you. Lethal footwork from Joe Weber.
Important tournament for Joe Weber. He missed the Gold Coast Commonwealth Games and the Rugby World Cup Sevens that followed in 2018 with injury and illness, so gets his chance in this team this year to continue. They will hope the legacy. 28 points to nil, New Zealand now. Again, it's Dixon contesting in the air, goes to ground, and it'll fall for Sri Lanka again. See if they can build something from inside their own 22. Big wide ball, trying to get their flyers into the action. And that's exactly what they're doing from Diluksha. Sribandia able to clear it away and playing with some nice pace now. Sri Lanka looking to use the width of the field. Burima has been heavily involved. The offload is good. Collier's got a chase here. A bit of a 2-on-1. Oh, the kick ahead is just going to sit up for Curry. Is it? No, it's not. It falls for Sri Lanka. What a score. What a moment. Ashwan Ratawa has scored a famous try for Sri Lanka.
Oh, the Ninja Turtles loving it in the crowd. This is the biggest cheer we've heard of the day. Take nothing against the star-studded teams we have seen so far, but this is an underdog story to behold. A Sri Lankan team been decimated with their preparation. They've done the best they can with what resources they can find, bringing in all sorts of help and assistance from those known in the game, but this is something to savour. First Sri Lankan try against New Zealand in the Com Games, with a history that dates back to losing 18-0 in '98. That's why they're jumping for joy.
Short clock on the screen for you, Bob. Short clock.
Ashan Ratwata. Joyous moment.
Donatello's loving it.
A great score for Sri Lanka right on half-time, and they go to the break. New Zealand 28, Sri Lanka 5. Will be the target, and again the Kiwi captain will soar high and use that physical prowess as well, but knocked on by the Kiwis.
Sam Dixon is like a bowling ball, just flew into that, skittling Sri Lankans. There's his AFL skills, flying high. He soars so well. It's a real part of the game You're watching a lot of sevens this weekend, you will see how important the restart is. He is one of the best at soaring. I want to get in his way.
New New Zealand captain this year, as I say, with Scott Curry having just come back, and Tim Mickelson, one of a handful of Kiwis back at home, injured at the moment. Again, they tried the little stab kick through. It worked once, but it won't work for them again. And Moses Leo's going to wind up for New Zealand. Ball in one hand, offload one-handed. Doesn't quite sit up for Collier. And New Zealand quite happy to go right back. McGarvey Black, 40-odd metre pass. Pressure coming from the Sri Lankan defence. New Zealand staying composed, and Joe Webber loves a broken defensive line. Sri Lanka scrambling nicely though. Almost the intercept too, and now massive numbers for New Zealand, and McGarvey Black will go straight up route one for his second try of the game.
It's common to look at combinations and balances of sevens teams, and this New Zealand team have it perfect. They've got massive frames, big runners, power plays on the outside, in the middle, the hot steppers, the Joe Webbers, McGorry Blacks. They're looking for any type of chance for a fractured defence. As soon as you commit to a tackle, you're out of the defensive line. That's all that this guy wants. He is cruising, he's looking comfortable, and this All Black Sevens team continuing their form on the Commonwealth Games.
New Zealand rolling some
Time off.
fresh legs onto the field as well. Akila Roko-Lesoa,
Okay, time back
member
on.
of the gold medal winning team as well. Again, shallow restart. Again, it's Sam Dixon, and again he goes up, slaps it back, and it's there for New Zealand. Roko-Lesoa, oh, speaking of footwork, oh great, just tipped up, but Collier on the support line. Roko-Lesoa looked up, heard the call, and found the big mitts of Dylan Collier to score again for New Zealand.
Again, wonderful juxtaposition of footwork, support play, and just sheer strength. Roko-Lesoa, I think he's born with a goose step. I'm not sure why we call it a goose step. The game of sevens, we love them. This guy's, I'd say in the top three, is that good. Between him, Webber, McGorry Black, there's some competition in training for who can outdo each other. Collier is the guy with a pill, puts it down to the sticks. It's already looking like it's going to start where it left off in that first half.
Two points to 5 now.
Time back on.
Roko-Lesoa. It's not going to be Dixon this time because he's left the field. And that's going to fall nicely for Sri Lanka. Mitun Apugota brings it down. Well, it's a little man on a big man. Does well though to lay it back, and they've got advantage for New Zealand. Just New Zealand offside rather. So Sri Lanka get the penalty. And again, they try to find some space in the back, see if they can get their speedsters. Rafaidin is chasing, but the bounce is much kinder for Moses Leo. And that could spell problems for the Sri Lankan defence again, as Roko-Lesoa, he provided one, and now he's going to score one of his own. Aquila Roko-Lesoa flirted with that line, and they're actually going to check here.
Just a bit closer.
Like a hurdler, didn't quite get his timing right on the steps.
Okay, check in.
It looked all right. But it's always worth checking.
Ben, when you're on screen, you may award the try.
Luckily, he's not got size 15s.
Try is given for Aquila Roko-Lesoa.
And that, again, we're seeing this kicking tactic from Sri Lanka. It just gives the ball back in the depths of territory to New Zealand. They don't care where they are on the pitch. They're going to attack you. I understand why they think it's a chance to put it on the boot. And it's something we're seeing a lot more of. But attacking kicks are slightly different to speculative defensive kicks. And that's where, unfortunately, Sri Lanka getting it slightly wrong. But as I say, this New Zealand team, they're looking white hot.
Good learning experience for Sri Lanka. Coming up against the best in the world again, and how you can match them physically, tactically. It's that learning that rugby nous that is not perhaps not so innate in some of the Sri Lankan players.
You're exactly right. Unfortunately, you can't match genetics all too well, and that physical battle is very difficult against this All Black Sevens team, no matter what country you're from. But the Sri Lankans have worked hard in their camps preceding this. They wanted to do a bit of trekking, a bit of discovery, jumping off waterfalls, that type of thing. Take care of the pill. Unfortunately, we haven't kept care of it too much in this game.
Back out of the tunnel, reset.
And again. Once again.
Crouch.
Order to feed the scrum
Stay square.
for Sri Lanka.
Time off.
Try and
We've had
string
4
some
scrums and the
passes
setup's
together,
been good.
perhaps.
Get the time on
Love
the
a
bind.
reset scrum
keep your
at
head
sevens.
space. It's not difficult, let's get it right.
For the purists.
Time
I'd say
on.
most of these forwards are
Crouch.
generally outside backs, so your wingers,
Bind.
fullbacks, the odd flanker sometimes, but very much not specialists in the dark arts of scrummaging.
New Zealand put a bit of a shove on, and they'll end up giving away a penalty.
I imagine none of them would be able to tell you what that was for either.
Tap and go this time from Sri Lanka. Let's hope they keep some ball in hand. Trying to spread across the field. New Zealand sliding across, ducking under one. Now the width again. Player on the wraparound. A good one-on-one. Almost thought about kicking. Again, held it in the hands. Did Hetiarachi. And they'll get another penalty here.
Again, it's really difficult because as soon as there's a contest, the ball is on the floor, a ruck is then formed where 2 players will compete over the top of it. They're going to lose that battle. Sri Lanka just have to keep moving it, keep chancing the one-on-ones and hope that they get the odd offload that's going to create that chance, but it's formidable. Just check out how fast this New Zealand line will get right in their face, and it closes down any space.
Nice wide ball here, a little bit of space as Caleb Tangitau comes forward and makes a big hit for New Zealand. And now they pile through. Sri Lanka, I was going to say just about tidied up, but lost the ball on the floor.
New Zealand know they're coming into this pool with both Samoa and England, very different entities to face. And certainly when you watch a New Zealand-Samoa contest, my word, you have to check the foundations of the stadium. There are some cataclysmic collisions in that. They'll know in the back of their mind this is very much job done here. Get through this assignment, move on to the next, ruthless in their application.
Bind. They have had a little bit of disruption in the build-up to this. They did a couple of late COVID-related replacements within the team. New players coming in, and there's a big hole for New Zealand to slice through again. And it is Sione Molia who'll get his second try as well.
Not hanging around, he wants to get the ball back, runs back to the halfway line as if he's not exhausted enough. Right from the base, Rokalasoa, the short carry, Molia can play right across the sevens field.
New Zealand have got on with it, they've rushed it too much and the kick didn't go 10. So this is a great chance for Sri Lanka. They'll be able to tap right here in the middle of the field. Nigel Ratwata it is. One of the more experienced players, a smart player in this Sri Lankan side. Some good skills, wouldn't they love another one? Wouldn't this Coventry Stadium love another one too on New Zealand? Good work over the ball though. Regan Ware to steal it back for the Kiwis. And they might look to finish off here. Space gone. Caleb Tangitau, he's got pace and power. Foot down and finishes the job for the New Zealanders.
Next cab off the rank for this sizable, fast, powerful wingers. Seem to be bred in New Zealand aplenty. The history of the Commonwealth Games will show you they do very well at developing wingers. Some of the world's finest have come through this system. Clark Laidlaw talks up the skill set. Tangitau has been something to be very excited about. You can see why.
New Zealand finish off well, but some really great moments, and one in particular for Sri Lanka to score a try against the defending champions. Ashin Ratwata scored for Sri Lanka. 63 points to 5 as Samanaki Nicole, New Zealand squad member, looks on. We'll be pleased with the work of his team so far. Huge matchup in Pool A. England against Samoa. This could be absolutely decisive.